Well, so you hear the difference in the flute. Now, if you play the exact same song with the fife, and lots of differences come into it. So, thank you. Well, you should say thank you.
Oh.
It's like, why am I saying that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
But you can kind of hear when you get to that higher pitch, you hear it's got a little more of a shrillness to it, and that is by design. It is designed to do that, so it can be heard over a much longer distance. So, well, that is kind of the purpose. A fife, even though technique-wise may seem kind of similar, it is much harder to play a fife due to the fact that when you look at kind of the shape of the holes there, your finger is what actually must cover the entire hole. Any little piece of air that can get out is what causes some of the issues here. Whereas with a flute, the song or the key covers the entire hole, so it's much easier to do. So a fife is much tougher. As I said, this one is made of rosewood, and at the tips, these are called ferrules. This is for protection, just in case it is dropped. But typically, it would be held either in a side holster, or if the band was holding it, they would be holding it straight in front. So what we're going to do now, rather than talk on and on about the history on it, I want to get more into the songs, the actual performance of some of these songs here that Neil's going to be doing for you. The first one, I'm going to have a little bit of the background, and then we're going to go into the song itself here. The first one we're going to be playing is Yankee Doodle Dandy. Yankee Doodle Dandy, going back to the American Revolution. Yankee Doodle Dandy was originally an insult. To be called a Yankee Doodle Dandy was insulting to a person. This was a British term. Yankee was a name derived to anybody from America. This actually goes back to the French and Indian War. A doodle was a derogatory term. It was a derogatory term used to describe somebody who looked foolish or generally was very foolish. So a Yankee Doodle, an American who looks foolish, and then a dandy was somebody who was very concerned with their physical appearance. So usually in the way that they dressed. So a song about a Yankee Doodle Dandy was very much an insult song. But after the United States won the American Revolutionary War, we took it as a badge of honor, and really it has kind of become synonymous with being American. So, Neil's going to get started. I will have the lyrics up here. These are the original lyrics, so you may know them in a different way. These are as originally written. This was a song that Americans would hear, and as the war gets done, they take it again as a badge of honor. That this was originally an insult, and now here we are. If folks are coming in, you'd like to sit down, please feel free. Please come on in. There's plenty of seats here. It's the coolest room in the house, so please feel free. The next song is a song called Moon and Seven Stars, or sometimes called The Sun, the Moon, and the Seven Stars. This is a type of song called a jig. It's designed to be upbeat. It's designed to have a little bit of melody to it. This was around the same time, so you'd either hear Yankee Doodle or you might hear this song as well. It's originally British, dating back to, again, about the same time, Revolutionary War times. But once we get hold of it, we make a few modifications. with Moon and Seven Stars. To hit that note, you really have to close that hole, or else you really get a kind of a backbeat to it. So that was the Moon and Seven Stars. That and the Yankee Doodle Dandy would have been around the same time. We're going to transition into the next major American conflict as we go past the War of 1812 and the Mexican-American War, which would have seen about the same songs, to Battle Hymn of the Republic, originally the words modified here in 1862. There was an earlier song called John Brown's Body, which is kind of the foundation of it, but this is a song that touches on a lot of the biblical aspects of the war and those who are looking to hope that God is watching over them by singing this song, that they are indeed doing God's work here. So this is Battle Hymn of the Republic from 1862, one of the more common songs of the Civil War. As I mentioned, kind of the biblical aspect of it. This is a song that is really meant to show that you are on the side of good, and if you are on the side of good, then the wicked will be trampled. And that's really what Battle Hymn of the Republic really kind of gets at its foundation.
Oh, yeah.
On the flip side, while Battle Hymn of the Republic is what you would hear a lot of from the North, on the South, this is perhaps the more common song you would have heard. Dixie, or sometimes it's referred to as Dixie's Land. The irony of this song is that it's actually written by a Northerner. It's not written by somebody from the South. It's written by a man named Daniel Emmett, who's from Ohio. This is actually a theme that you would see in a type of show called minstrel shows, which we'll get to a few more minstrel songs in just a moment here. But minstrel shows, just to kind of give you the basics, were shows that were performed by white actors who were pretending to be African American. And in doing so, they were, very much a racially stereotypical performance. But as it was performed, it kind of became like a song of the Old South. It became the song of the Confederacy. And not just of the Confederacy. Abraham Lincoln once called it his favorite song. And the irony of that, Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States, dealing with the rebellion of the Confederacy, and yet their song is one of his favorites. A lot of songs were parodied from it. A lot of times Northerners would do parody songs of Southern songs, and Southerners would do parodies of Northern songs, just because they were so catchy. And so they would write their own version of it. But this is Dixie, the de facto Confederate national anthem. So while we have a northern version with Battle Hymn of the Republic and a southern version with Dixie here, I want to do a couple of songs that both sides would have known and both sides would have played. This first song here, When Johnny Comes Marching Home, published in 1863, this would have been one of those songs that both a northerner and a southerner would have heard. They would have recognized it, and the immediate feeling is, I want to go home. You may be fighting, you may be doing this for a cause, but in the end, you want to go home. And so from that, this is the first two songs that both sides would have known and sung in the original form. When Johnny Comes Marching Home. Meant to be performed slow. It was meant to be performed in a kind of a sullen manner. You're sad. You're away from your family. So this was a song that was meant to be sung, just as you would have heard it here. Very slow, very melodic. The other version here, Home Sweet Home. Home Sweet Home is actually one of the older songs of the four that we just went through. It goes back to 1823. This was a song, it was actually banned for a certain time because too many people heard the song and then deserted. They would leave their regiment, they would leave their battalion because they missed home so much. So this is 1823's Home Sweet Home, written by Sir Henry Bishop.
You can go upstairs if you want to take a look around.
So you kind of hear it. It almost has, again, it's kind of this melodic sadness to it. I mean, imagine being away from home 2 years, 3 years, friends that have come and gone, and you hear this song, and the Union Army, to the point, banned it for a certain time because too many people were leaving as a result. Well, I want to get away from the sadness. I want to start finishing us up here with things that are a little more peppy, and I want to introduce America's first rock star, and that's Stephen Foster. Stephen Foster is considered, as I have up here, the first professional songwriter in American history. He was offered 2 cents per sale of one of his first major hits, "Oh Susanna." He was offered 2 cents for every time a sheet of music was sold, and that in turn made him a professional songwriter. So with a song like "Oh Susanna," the question is, who's Susanna? Like, who would she be? And the answer is, the closest thing we can say is that he has a sister, and her middle name was Susanna. So maybe it was her, or maybe it was just a name that he just happened to randomly pick. But this is one of the songs that helped put Stephen Foster on the map as far as the most well-known songwriters of all time. This is "Oh Susanna." It's very much like this is another one of those minstrel song shows, and it was supposed to be sung as somebody who just feels kind of goofy. You know, when you looking at some of the lyrics here, "It rained all night the day I left, the weather it was dry. The sun so hot I froze to death." And so this is meant to, like, you hear the song, you're supposed to laugh at the lyrics, you're supposed to laugh at, how silly the person is that is singing this song. But it became so catchy that here it is, we all know the song over 150 years later. This next one here, "The Yellow Rose of Texas," does date back to Civil War times. This is soldiers from the Confederacy, specifically from Texas. Loved this song, performed this song. The lyrics themselves, I'm not going with the original version. I am going to go with the version that was sung more by soldiers at the time, But again, this is something that you would have seen more from Soldiers from Texas. And this is the Yellow Rose of Texas. Another song that makes you think back of what is going home. When you look at the lyrics here, just imagining that girl from back home. You can't wait to get home. You can't wait to meet her again. And we'll conclude today. Our last song with another Stephen Foster hit, the second major hit here, Camptown Races, which I was looking this up and doing my research with it, and found that Camptown is a real place. Camptown is a place in Pennsylvania that actually had a racetrack. Today, if you were to go to Camptown, the racetrack is actually 6 miles long and not 5 miles, as the lyrics will suggest. But it is kind of meant in the theme of a jig. It is meant to be happy, upbeat and peppy version. So we'll conclude our last song today here with Camptown Races. So we hope you enjoyed this. This is a series of songs that we selected in a time when, if you were into music in the 18th and 19th century, which everybody was, you either picked up an instrument, whatever the instrument might have been, and learned to play it, or you came as we all did here, and you listened to the master at work with us here. So we thank you very much for coming out today. Please feel free to take a look around. If you have any questions about the Fife or any of the songs, please come forward and ask us. Otherwise, we hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at the Westside Historic Village Park.